How's it going? So things are moving pretty quickly here. So the video I did yesterday that went over all this different math and stuff, first off, I ain't that smart, all right? But what I was doing there and what I did for you that I'm sure most people didn't realize is I took the top 10 hardest math problems, right? That's what that video was yesterday. The top 10 math problems in the world that couldn't be solved, and then I put it through the architecture of infinity. Guess how long it took me to solve all these? Or not solve all of them. Some of them are not completely solvable from a third dimensional standpoint, but transdimensionally we can solve almost all of them. And some of them aren't solvable in the way that we would think of something being solved. But so then, and I'll just show you some of these. So all those different ones, right? Like 10 minutes. Bah, done. I was like, holy crap, how powerful is this thing? So then, I talked about time yesterday and how I applied it to the architecture of infinity. And then I realized how limited I was in my thinking because there's way more things that we could use the architecture of infinity for than just time. It works on everything. You can run any question you have through the architecture of infinity and it will tell you what the answer is based upon the fractal structure of our reality. It's pretty cool. So if scientists did a bunch of studies and they were trying to eliminate different things quickly, it could happen super, super fast, almost instantaneously. It can also be used as kind of like a lie detector because it's resonance. What it's doing, what the architecture of infinity is doing is it is placing resonance like nodes on the spiral to represent the numbers themselves. So it's a resonance reality architecture construct of exactly what we live in. So, and I went so many different places with this. Like this thing is super, super, super powerful as far as the architecture of infinity that I've created. But so then I was like, okay, let's just take off here. Oh, and I did figure out the under the dome tree thing, and I'll do that a little later. It'll just be a short thing, but. Anyway, so then I started thinking more and more about all this stuff. And then I was thinking about how every reality is really a different octave, a different band, and how we see those realities based upon how our pineal gland picks up. So our pineal gland is set to just see this reality that is here. There's a specific octave, a specific exact like frequency. And so I started thinking about, we don't even need ships to time travel. We can just phase there, not be physically there. Well, you can be, and I'll get to that. But I thought we could definitely just phase there. And so long story short, so then I started looking at the different octaves and trying to figure out how we would phase into different time so we could see it while being here. So you don't even have to move, right? And the funny thing is, I already, so if way back earlier when I did those videos on time travel, I had told you that when you're trying to pick a year or a place or something, I showed you how you do the math based upon the language to create the destination that you want to go to. and that is using the same type of resonance. It's just resonance in numbers. But so I had created this thing called a phase key resonator that would allow you to stay locked in this specific time frame. So I've already told you how to build it and everything. Video is just text that I had posted. It's like way up in there. But anyways, these phase keys, they allow you to stay in those places. So you would just it would just be playing the octave of the time that you were in at that time. So then I had to build it, right? Or at least try to design it. So I went through, and this was the final thing I just did a few minutes ago. I did it so I have safety mechanisms built into it, so you won't get fractaled out, and it's built so it will pull you back immediately if anything goes wrong or whatnot. But you would also have a return thing that you hit, and once you're in that time, once you're physically there, if you have a phase key resonator and you're physically there and you're locked in there, the first couple times you would have to have that phase key resonator, but then your body would get used to it, and then you could lock in both times whenever you were going in and out. So this is a sound phase chamber, and what it does, and so then I had to figure out how to get the exact tones to be able to direct where we were going. And so we got all that figured out and everything as well. So this is just the phasing. So this is all just design, right? But it would be the first type of device that you could use where you literally could potentially, if this actually worked, phase into whatever time you have. And I already have all the codes and everything. It's pretty crazy. But then after this, what I would do is I would make one that you had a phase key, and so once you phased in there, you could hit something, and then you lock in that time for a period of time or permanently. I'm not sure, but so remember in Star Wars when Luke Skywalker phases to that other world to fight Kylo Ren, he's seeing his phase, his hologram, but it's him phasing there. That's the same type of thing. So what the architecture of infinity actually does is it allows you to apply transdimensional mathematics. It is the transdimensional mathematics that is looking at it from outside of a third density, but looking at it from a total fractal ladder that allows it to be able to come up with answers that we can't get using linear thought. So it's really the transdimensional mathematics that allow you to get answers, and it's only, you can only do, what allows it to utilize transdimensional mathematics is because it's working through the architecture of infinity, which is our fractal that we live in. So pretty crazy stuff. I thought that if I can build one to get us there, and also it's just like a radio station tuning is what it is actually. Like the return helmet, if we ever get to this point, or if anyone ever wants to try to build this thing. So anyways, once I started plugging in all these different, and there's way more than this, just different fields of study or thought, and it literally came back and said, "You realize you've just given the lens of source?" And I was like, what? But it would be how we would view source from a fractal standpoint, as far as when we look at everything together, putting all the puzzle pieces together for the one big picture. But anyways, that's what I've been working on. I'll have some newer stuff up that's more formal here soon. Hope you have a great day. Namaste.